I do a lot of videos on the topic of Facebook ads and actually Instagram ads along with it because it's both the same thing. And I get a ton of questions from you guys about Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and I get them from my clients as well. So I thought, why not do a video where I just kind of run through all the most common questions I get on a daily, weekly basis so that you guys can really know what's what in terms of Facebook ads and how I recommend running them and how you can really improve your whole campaign so you can start making more money in 2020. So without any long preamble, let's just get right into the question. So the first one is, how much should I be spending on Facebook ads? So this is a question that comes up all the time. Obviously, price is important. The way you need to think about Facebook ads is this. It's going to take a little bit of time usually to get the results you want. So what I recommend is coming up with a number that feels comfortable for you to basically kind of play around with and gamble with, if you will, because Facebook ads, they can work really well, but a lot of times it's a matter of getting it dialed in just right. So what I recommend is having that budget in mind of what's comfortable to potentially lose if things don't really go according to plan. So, but I'm sure you want to hear more of a hard and fast number. So here's what I'm going to recommend. If you're more of a national company, I recommend no less than $1,000 a month. Even that I think is pretty low, but still doable. If you're a local business, you can get away with a lot less. Okay, so if you're a local business and you're just operating in, a small town or a medium-sized town, something like that, I'd say you can probably get away with spending about $5 a day on your Facebook ads. And of course, there's a lot more at play too. It depends on how many ads you have. If you're using dynamic creative ads that basically put together all the different combinations of headlines and images and videos, then you really need to spend a little bit more for all those combinations because every ad combination needs about 500 impressions for Facebook's algorithm to get a handle on what it's doing. So the more ads you have and the more combinations, the more variants you have. Think about spending a little bit more. But if you're just starting simple, I'd say start with $1,000 to $2,000 a month nationally, $5 to $10 a day if you're local. Okay, next question is, what's the best way to target my ideal customers? So basically, one of the biggest factors that contributes to how successful your ads are is how you're targeting. Who are you showing your ads to, right? That's very important. So there's a few ways of doing this. You can do interest-based targeting. You can target other people's Facebook pages. Like if people, if you're an entrepreneurial audience, if your customers are entrepreneurs, they may like Gary Vaynerchuk. So you run Facebook ads to his page, so anyone who's a fan of that page can get it. My favorite couple ways of targeting, though, first one would be retargeting. So basically meaning anyone who's either interacted with your content on Facebook, they've watched a video, they've clicked through to a post, or anyone who's gone to your website. I love that one. So anyone who's gone to your website, you've got what they call a Facebook pixel on your site. So whenever someone goes to your site and they're logged into Facebook, which let's face it, almost everybody is all the time, then you can send them Facebook ads, which is a great spend of your ad money because these are people who've already kind of raised their hand and said, I'm interested in what they have to offer. So retargeting is great. If you're doing cold audiences, then I love a lookalike audience. So what that is basically just you've got a customer list, right? Or an email subscriber list, people who've opted in. So you take all those email addresses, you hand them over to Facebook, and you say, hey, Facebook, get me a couple million people that most closely resemble what these people have in common, right? Because Facebook has got so many data points on every person, every user. They can start putting together, they can connect those dots and start seeing what do all these people have in common, and then they find way more people who also have that thing in common. So I love a lookalike audience. ideally based on paying customers. The caveat here being you really have to have about 1,000 or more people on that list for it to be effective. So if you don't have a list of 1,000 paying customers, you scale it back to maybe if you have an email list, and I always recommend an email list, and this is one of the reasons why. So you feed that in, they serve your ad up to many more people, and it's a really great, smart way to target. Okay, so our next question is, what objective do I choose to get people to download my lead magnet? Okay, so back to the lead magnet conversation, getting people on your email list. So that's one of the best uses of Facebook ads, is actually just to get people on that email list. So let's say you've got a guide. For instance, I've got a Facebook lead ads swipe file, basically showing people all the best Facebook lead ads that I've compiled, and you can download that in exchange for your email address. So if I wanted to get people to download that, what objective do I use? And if you're not familiar with that, there's different objectives the Facebook lets you choose between, which really gives them a much better sense of who they should be showing your ads to. Do they want to show it to people who are likely to click through to your website, people who are likely to actually sign up, or people who are likely to like your posts? There's all these different things. So the main three for lead generation would be a lead ad, which is basically so that's a leads objective where they never have to leave Facebook to sign up for it. That's a leads objective. Then there's a conversions objective, which takes people to your landing page where they have to sign up for it. That's a conversion objective. And then there's a traffic objective. So you really have to make a choice here between, leads objectives, when they're staying on Facebook, you tend to get a lot more leads, but they tend to be a little less quality. Because if you're asking less of somebody, you're generally going to get less qualified prospects. More of them, less qualified. So there's that. Then there's the conversion objective. They go to your website and then they have to fill out your form. And that is going to cause a little bit of friction. Not everyone's going to want to do it, but the people who do decide to go through with all that, they're much more likely to buy from you in the future, probably. That's a conversion objective. So I like that one a lot. Then here's where it gets a little more tricky. So Facebook needs about 50 instances of an action per week for their algorithm to optimize and get smarter. So if you're not getting 50 conversions or 50 opt-ins every week, you might have to take a step back and then do a traffic objective instead. That's a little less ideal because now it's optimizing for people who are just going to click through to your site, not necessarily people who are going to opt in. But, you gotta crawl before you can walk. So I would start with that until you're getting 50 signups per week. Then you upgrade into the conversions, or you can always do the leads as well. Okay, next we've got, what's the most effective ad type? So I love this question. People always want a shortcut. They want to know what just works best, Wes. Just tell us what works best and we'll do it. The problem with that is it's one of those answers that I hate to give, but it truly depends. When we talk about ad types, we're talking about the general ones are generally images, videos, or carousel ads. So what I highly recommend is always testing. What I like to do is test at least two, possibly three different images that are all very different. Maybe one's a photo, one's more of an illustration, and then one's just a different type of photo. See what works best. So test those three different images against a video to see how that works. And then I also like to test a carousel possibly too, where maybe it's your top three benefits next to each other, each with an accompanying image. All that to say, there's really no one type of ad that performs the best. People do love to say video works better than anything, and it does a lot of the time, but not always. So that's why we test. But again, just to make it really actionable for you, I'm going to say test 2 images and 1 video, and you should have a clear winner within a few days. Okay, next is, should I be prioritizing cold audiences or warm audiences on Facebook? So there's 2 types of audiences, the cold audiences who have not heard of you yet, And then warm audiences, which we talked about a little bit ago, people who know who you are, they've been to your website, they've seen you on Facebook. So what I generally recommend in terms of, the priority list of what kind of ads to run and how much you should be spending on each, I generally like to spend about 3/4 of the budget on cold audiences, okay, bringing people into your world. And what that generally looks like is I like to do more of like a video view objective or a traffic objective. So the way this works is you do a cold ad to people that you define their demographics and you define their interests and all that good stuff, and then send it out for people to watch a video, which ideally is really closely aligned with what you offer. So the implication is anybody who watches this video would be a candidate for my business, would be interested in what I do. You can also do the same thing by it being more of an ad to an article on your website. Same idea. If anyone who clicks through to this article, anyone who clicks through to it, they're interested in what I can offer them. So that's cold audiences. You spend about 3/4 of your budget there. Then you spend the remaining 1/4 of your budget on retargeting everybody who went to your website to read the article or who watched a certain percentage of your video. And of course, that's just a really simple version of it. There can be a lot more touch points along the way, but just to keep things really simple for any newbies out there, that's how I would recommend you do it. Okay, next, why are ad costs rising? Okay, well, there are several reasons for this. Basically, the main reason is just more people are on to Facebook ads now. There's so much more talk about it. It's a really great way to get new people into your business and target them with pretty pinpoint accuracy so you can see why so many people are really jumping on the bandwagon. And with more advertisers comes more competition, so the bid prices just get ratcheted up. Not to mention the fact that a lot of big advertisers have kind of jumped ship from advertising on TV to Facebook because they know it's just a smarter ad spend. So unfortunately, what happens is these guys have deeper pockets. They can afford to spend more on their ads. So we all kind of suffer a little bit when we're trying to compete with them. So that's why. And, we've just come through the holidays. So notoriously, if you happen to be watching this in the future and it's that period, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you can expect those ad prices to just go through the ceiling because so many retailers are bidding against you at that point. So, if ad prices are just too high, you might consider other alternatives. Like I like YouTube advertising for that. I love the idea of Spotify advertising, which I haven't really tried yet, but I'm going to try it and share the results with you guys soon. Okay, next question. This is a frustrating one. Why are my ads getting disapproved? So this happens to a lot of advertisers, and they're not really good at communicating the reasons for ads being disapproved. It happened to me recently where the girl who runs my Facebook ads for me had no idea why it was getting disapproved. So keep up to date with the ad policies, which does not sound fun, I know, but it always helps to know what exactly you're allowed to do and not allowed to do. Some of the main culprits for ads getting disapproved would be making insinuations about the audience, really picking at a pain point in an over-the-top kind of way. It's always good to bring up pain points, but within Facebook, they like positivity more than anything. So you really have to be very careful the way you word certain things. The other thing is making promises. They don't like to see that because they just basically flag that as dishonesty in advertising. There's certain industries that really fall prey to this, like anything in the health and beauty niche. They really look at these very closely to make sure you're not making over-the-top promises that people can't realistically keep up with. So just speak to positivity and an overall transformation that you're going to give them without promising the world. Make it realistic and you should be good to go. All right, next question is, do I need to run ads when I don't have an offer to promote or when I'm already at capacity? And the answer is, yeah, you really should be running Facebook ads even when you're not actively promoting something or even if you can't right now take on more clients. And that sounds very counterintuitive, I know, but you do this for a few reasons. What I highly recommend is even if you can't take on new clients right now, you still run ads to a lead magnet. You always want to be building up your email list. And it's also been shown, it might just be anecdotal, but a lot of people who I really trust with this stuff have told me that Facebook tends to reward business pages and businesses on Facebook that are constantly running ads. And by reward, I mean they'll generally show the ads to more people with a lower cost. So if you can get that going for you, then you're gonna have a much easier time and you're gonna have a much more effective, lower dollar campaign when it is time to launch or to find more clients. All right, so I've got so much more to share with you all about Facebook ads. And Instagram ads too, for that matter. So just go ahead and click this playlist right here. It's got all my best stuff for how to run Facebook ads effectively, how to write Facebook ads, everything that goes into a really effective one so that you can use your ad budget very wisely this year and beyond. So just click right over here and I'll see you in the first video.